What's going on, everybody? I'm your host, Ben Ballion, back with another episode of the Sports Pod. And today is part 23 of the 82-part series where I'm going to be recapping all the Knicks games left in this season. And so for today, we're going to recap the Knicks' loss to the Jazz, a tough game for them. I'm going to hit on some MLB offseason. Tyler Glass now just got traded to the Dodgers. And give my thoughts on what the Dodgers have been doing this offseason. And then also talk about Taj Gibson coming back to New York. Knicks signed him to a one-year deal this week. And also mention some other trade targets that the Knicks could go after. Roll the intro.
For three. Bang! That ball is out of here! Out of here! Iguodala to Curry. Back to Iguodala. Up for the layup. Oh, blocked by James! LeBron James with the rejection.
All right, jumping right into the episode. But first, shout out to Mr. Grande for working on the intro. That was what was in the works that I mentioned a couple episodes ago. It took a little while, but I think it looks very good now. And I really appreciate all the work that you put into it. But let's start out by recapping the Knicks' loss to the Jazz. This was a game I thought they needed to win. They're going into a tough back-to-back on the road in Phoenix tomorrow. And then the day after that, they're going to play in LA. Now, the Clippers, they've looked good since Russell Westbrook went to the bench and James Harden, and then it opened up the floor a little bit more, and it changed things up for the Clippers. They're 13-10 right now, same record as the Knicks. But I think that's the one that I have my eyes on. That's the one that I think they could pull off. It's the second half of the back-to-back, which is going to be tough. But if I'm Tibbs, I might save a little bit against the Suns' big three of Devin Booker, Bradley Beal, and Kevin Durant, because they are all playing now. Bradley Beal is back in the lineup, and Kevin Durant is playing, which is a surprise. It seems like he never plays. But I think I might take a little bit off of that game. Obviously, go out and try to win it. Do whatever. If it's a close game down the stretch, don't pull your guys out or anything. Tell them to go harder if you could win that game. But if it's a blowout and it's looking like you're gonna lose in the third quarter, take Brunson out, take Randall out, save them for the next night, where I think it's more realistic that you get a win. But for this Jazz game, it was really just an off shooting night. And over the course of an 82-game regular season, those are going to happen. You're not going to win every game, and you're not going to shoot really well in every game. The Jazz are good. They're young, and they're scrappy, and they'll grind. Colin Sexton played really good defense, and then Walker Kessler, who people call a knockoff Rudy Gobert, was doing his thing and protecting the rim well. He also played really well on offense, which I'll hit on in a second. But in terms of the off shooting night, it was everybody that was off. It wasn't one guy, and it wasn't one player that lost this game for the Knicks, because it's a team sport, and that's just what happens sometimes. So I'm gonna start off with Josh Hart. And before I say that he had a bad a bad shooting night, he stunk last night, all that kind of stuff, all the negative stuff, I just want to say Josh Hart doesn't have to impact the game by shooting. Even if he is not shooting the ball well, then he's still going to make a difference. He'll facilitate. He'll get the team in transition. He'll play really good defense. So even if he wasn't shooting how he wanted him to, which he wasn't, he still made an impact in this game. He was a -7, but besides Hartenstein, who was a +5, that's the highest off the bench. Quickly was a -13, and Grimes -27. which was a team low. And something that I'm a little bit concerned about. It's still early in Grimes being on the bench, and this was the first game, well, really second game that he's played with Quickly on the bench. The first one was in Boston. Quickly played, and then it was Boston, then the Raptors, I think. Let's see here. You got Boston last Friday night. That was the first game that he was on the bench. Wait, he started the in-season tournament game because that's when he said he was frustrated that he wasn't touching the ball enough. So Tibbs moved him to the bench for Friday night's game against the Celtics, which Quickly played in. And in that game, Quickly had I don't think a lot of people, that wasn't a great game. The Knicks did score more than usual, which was good. So they coexisted pretty well in that one. Quickly at 17, Grimes had 13. I'll take that. And then Monday night against the Raptors with Quickly out with a knee issue, Grimes goes off. He has 19 points. Josh Hart has 16. And the Knicks get another win. Not another win. They lost to the Celtics. But then you look here against the Jazz where they lost by 4, 117 to 113. Grimes has only 2 points and Quickly has 15. And Grimes is only 1 for 4 from the field, where Quickly is 6 of 8. So neither of them got a lot of shots. I think Quickly should be around 10 shots a game, and Grimes maybe 6 or 7. So I just don't think there was a ton of offense. I mean, 113 points isn't a ton, and the thing with the Knicks, they keep up with whatever team they're playing. They don't set the pace. They play to the pace of the other team. Like, I noticed it with the Raptors, where the Raptors scored a lot of points. They scored 130 plus, and then the Knicks, to battle that, they scored 130 plus. But then you look here, the Jazz score 117. Then the Knicks have to play in that pace instead of playing in their own pace, where I think they should be scoring at least 120 points a game. Or maybe not 120 points, but like 115 points, I don't think is a stretch for this team. And then also they need to be playing good defense because that's how they're going to win games. The defense is how they win a lot of games. And losing Mitchell Robinson, we already feel it. Walker Kessler went off last night. For Walker Kessler, and I'm surprised he doesn't start with this team. He only had 9 points. It felt like a lot more. 9 points, 8 rebounds. Wait, this can't. Yeah. Colin Sexton killed us with 26 points. And Lauri Markkanen played well with 23. He made his first All-Star appearance last year. So I'm not surprised about that. But then, was it Fatecchio? It might have been Fatecchio that killed us. Because one of their big men, I'm pretty sure it was Walker Kessler. And maybe his stats just don't add up to what I thought. But he dominated. He was facilitating his offense. He was getting a lot of rebounds, and it felt like he was scoring. He had an alley-oop slam on Julius Randle's head, right over Randle. It was a poster dunk. Unfortunate for Randle, but those things are going to happen, and he just got to live through it. It's not that big of a deal. But getting back to what I was saying about the shooting, next player I want to mention, R.J. Barrett. He was historically bad in this one. I think it was just an off night for the Knicks. I already said it. Like, over the course of an 82 game season, this is gonna happen. You can't play really good basketball every game. You can't shoot 75, 80% every game. That's a high number. 50% every game. Like, you're gonna have nights where you don't shoot well as a team. And it was bad. It was a really bad shooting night. I mean, they did shoot 43% from the field, and 23% from deep is what killed us. And that's still what's missing. Dante helped. He was the new addition that was supposed to impact our 3-point shooting. He was 6 for 13, 4 of 9 from deep. And he got his shots. And I'm gonna bring that up in a couple minutes. Here I talk about Quentin Grimes next. Again. But Dante being 4 of 9 from deep, that's a little bit under 50%. We'll take that. And 21 points, that's good. But for RJ Barrett, in the first half, he was the third person in NBA history to take 11 shots, 6 threes, 6 of them being threes, and have under 3 points. Under 3 points. I mean, that's pretty bad. And I'm not an RJ hater. I like RJ. He's our top 3 pick. And I still think that he was the best selection out of those top 3 in that draft. He's been the most consistent player. Even if he hasn't been the most talent. You look at Zion, first overall pick. He has a lot of injury problems, and also his weight and conditioning have been bigger problems, which do impact the injuries. And then Ja, obviously, all the stuff on Instagram Live, and he's coming back in a couple days. I'm excited to see him make his return, because if he can stay on the court, he's such a fun player to watch, and he is so good at basketball. Like, it's just annoying that he has to get in trouble and stuff like that. I also want to talk about Draymond Green, because he got in some big trouble. Which the suspension that he got is pretty crazy. And I don't know if I agree with it. And all right, so getting back to RJ Barrett. Ever since he's coming back from those migraine injuries, he's struggled a lot. He's shooting 25% from deep since November 25th. And I think it's because his playmaking hasn't been as good either. At the start of the season, everybody was saying, "Oh, RJ Barrett took a jump. Took a leap. His playmaking is way better." Yeah, and it was opening up more of his offensive game. I think that's why he was shooting better. He was getting better looks, more wide open threes that he was knocking down. But ever since coming back from that knee injury, ever since he came back from those migraines, the playmaking hasn't been there. And I think that is what's holding him back from shooting better right now. All right, I'm going to move on to Quentin Grimes again. I already mentioned that he only took 4 shots in this one. And then versus Toronto, he took 11 shots. I don't know if it has to do with quickly, but it's still something that's important, and it was a big part of them losing this game. And then even Dante DiVincenzo scoring 21 on 13 shots shows that he could have gotten shots in the starting lineup. But he was a robot, and he decided not to shoot the ball, and he passed a lot. And even the shots that he did take were really tough shots, contested threes. So I don't know if it was just that he couldn't get into a rhythm taking those shots. I still think he's going to be better off the bench. We just got to let this experiment marinate for a little bit longer. It's only been 3 games so far, so you got to let it time. Give it time to settle in. All right, moving on to the impact of Mitchell Robinson's injury that this team has already shown. So Walker Kessler, he's not even a top 10 big in the league. But without the rim protection of Mitchell Robinson, he sliced and diced against the Knicks. And I will give Sims credit. He had a really nice block where he swatted the ball out of bounds when somebody tried to go baseline. I forget who that was. It might have been Keontae George. But Sims played all right. He had 4 points and 2 rebounds. Not enough at all. We need a lot more than that out of Sims. Robinson was single-handedly the best rebounder in the league, without a doubt. And now you're going from 10, 11 rebounds a game to 2. That's not going to bode well for the team. And then Isaiah Hartenstein, on the other hand, he only had 6 rebounds. So between our two centers, we only had 8 rebounds. But Julius Randle, who has been balling out the past week and a half, and even after that cold streak to start the season, he has been balling. 32 points in this one and 12 rebounds, picking up the slack. I like it from Julius. That was big time, because this game wouldn't have been so close if it weren't for Julius Randle's rebounding. And I don't even know, getting to some of the Taj Gibson stuff, I don't know if Taj Gibson plays. I don't know if he should. I want to trust Sims and let Sims prove himself. I want Taj Gibson to play the role that Derrick Rose did last year. Come in here. He has good connections with Tibbs, just like Derrick Rose did. Come in here and mentor these young guys. Mentor Sims. Mentor Deuce McBride. These young guys that are still trying to prove himself in the league. Because that's all Taj Gibson had to do in his career. There hasn't been a place where he's gone and he's automatically the guy. He's got to prove himself by rebounding, by hustling, by playing a lot of defense. And that's what Deuce and Sims are going to have to do. And I say Deuce because every time a guard is hurt, he's going to get some minutes. And I like Deuce. I think he gives you a lot when he does get his chance. So I don't mind the Taj Gibson signing. But if and only if the Knicks go out and try to trade for a superstar or a star player, that third scoring option that we need, and it showed we needed one in this game. We only lost by 4 points, 117 to 113. You might have to cut Taj Gibson or include him in the package of that deal. And some of the guys that I'm looking at that the Knicks might be able to trade for are Zach LaVine. Zach LaVine's the one I want them to trade for. I don't want... DeMar wants to come here. DeMar DeRozan. I do not want the Knicks to go and trade for him. He doesn't provide enough spacing, and he doesn't play enough defense. Like, Julius Randle can score just as well as DeMar DeRozan can. And Randle plays better defense than DeRozan does. So I don't want... At this stage in his career, DeMar DeRozan... I think all time DeMar DeRozan's the better scorer. But at this point in his career, DeMar DeRozan cannot score as well as Julius Randle. And then, so Zach LaVine's the one I want from the Bulls. They're not good. And then, I heard Evan Roberts today on WFAN saying that Steph Curry is going to become available within the next little while. Obviously I would love for the Knicks to trade for him, but at this point in his career, he's gonna be here for maybe 2 or 3 years, and that's definitely gonna be a championship window or like a must-win kind of season, kind of like the Mets were this year going into the season before they shipped off Verlander and Scherzer at the deadline to the Rangers and Astros. But Curry's only going to be here for a couple more years. He said he wants to play till he's 40. He's 35 right now. He'll turn 36 in March. But if and only if that happens and he becomes available, I would go after him. That's the greatest shooter of all time, and it would completely change um the Knicks. And he's not somebody who's gonna come in here. Obviously, he's gonna take a lot of shots, but he can play not necessarily off the ball, but he knows how to move off the ball. And Brunson is a good facilitator. He knows how to get Curry the ball, and I would like that if it happens. I think anybody would like that. Curry's a top 10 player in the NBA all time. And if the Knicks could get him, that would be crazy. All right, that's all I'm going to talk about for basketball today. But I do want to mention a little bit of baseball because Tyler Glasnow just got traded to the Dodgers as I was preparing for this episode. And it said he wants to sign a contract extension there also. The Dodgers are forming a super team, and it is going to be scary and also terrible for the game of baseball. Because they have these guys locked up for years, and if Tyler Glasnow extends his contract, they have these guys locked up for many, many years. And if all of them could stay healthy, it's gonna be a dynasty. I don't see how it isn't. You know, there is a way it doesn't become a dynasty. The new wild card format. Because if this team has a bad weekend, then they're done. And they're out in the first round of the playoffs. But I really think they're gonna be the best team in the National League for years to come. I think they're better than the Braves right now. And then if Yamamoto signs there, which they said he was impressed with the presentation and the meeting they had, it's over. It's over. The Dodgers are winning the World Series. And that's gonna be terrible. Not terrible. I'd rather that than the Braves or Phillies winning the World Series. But it's gonna happen a lot of times over the next couple of years, and that's gonna be the part that makes me mad. But I think Cohen should have the highest bid for Yamamoto. He has the most money in baseball, so I don't see why he shouldn't. All right, that's gonna do it for this episode. I'm your host, Ben Ballion. I'll talk to you in a couple days.